Raising quail is relatively easy, but there are a few things that you need to know about those little baby quail. And some of those things I've learned the hard way, some lessons that I don't think I've heard anybody talk about. Today I'm sharing one of the crazy things that I have learned, and hopefully it's going to keep you from making the same mistake I did. Hey friends, I am dropping off a package at the post office right now, but as soon as I get home, I'm going to share a little experiment that I just did to prove what happened to some baby quail that we recently lost. And if you hear breathing in the background here, puppy dog is along with me. She is my package princess, as we call her sometimes. She does not want to be left out of the video as well. Right, babe? If you're new here and we've not met, my name is Hope. My husband Michael and I are eBay resellers, and we are in the process of transitioning our homestead into 100% quail. We are learning a lot of things, and there's a lot of great information out there, but there are also some gaps and a lot of differing opinions about things. One thing, or one lesson that I just recently learned the hard way, is how easy it is for little baby chicks to drown. And one of the craziest things, I never would have thought this would have been possible, but I'm going to do a little experiment today and show you what happened to our quail. Hopefully it will keep you from having the same experience with your own baby quail. Okay, so first, let me start with explaining what happened. About 10 days ago, we had a batch of roughly 1 to 2 day old baby chicks. And we had them in a brooder where we had large pine shavings in it, because we've been told that if you use the fine shavings, then the chicks are very likely to mistake that for food, and they'll start eating those pine shavings, the little tiny ones, thinking that they're getting food, and then of course they're not going to get any nourishment from that, and it's just not going to be a good situation. Initially, I had used like the really thick blue paper towels, like shop towels, because they're really absorbent and it keeps the chicks on a soft surface, but it keeps their legs from spreading apart and causing splay leg. So the paper towels were a good, and are a good solution, and I would use that above putting pine shavings in with baby chicks for the first few days anyway. But the reason why I was trying something different is because as soon as you put the paper towels down, they're instantly covered with quail baby poop. So I was trying to keep it a little bit fresher smelling and looking, to the expense of the safety of our quail. Because what happened was, as the water came down into the little trough area of the waterer, the large pieces of the pine shavings were touching. As the baby quail are moving around, they're clumsy, they're pushing shavings around, and that gets into the waterer. Once the shavings get inside that water, it acts as a wick, and it starts to pull that water down to that piece of shaving, and that touches another piece, and the next thing you know, all the water is coming out. And what happened in our situation is, in a couple of hours time, almost an entire quart of water wicked through the pine shavings and into the brooder, and the entire brooder was basically like pine shaving soup. And we had wet baby chicks galore. Every single chick in the brooder was completely soaked. Thankfully, we were able to get them into what I call the infirmary in the bathroom, and we put them in another brooder bin with a blow dryer like propped up on the side on low, and just let that air flow around into the bin while I'm trying to get those little baby chicks dry. The majority of them we did get dry and they recovered and did fine, but we did lose a few. And it was a costly lesson, and one that I will definitely remember. it took me a while to figure out what was going on. So what I did was I did a little investigating. I had a suspicion that the wicking action is what was happening or what was causing this. So I did play around with some AI, and then I ran a little experiment of my own. So what I did was I took a fresh plastic bin and a probably 3/4 of a quart jar waterer, and put it into the brooder bin that had pine shavings in it. And then I just brushed up some shavings on it as if I were a baby chick and getting some in there. And then basically just walked away and came back in about 2 hours time. And when I came back, the water had, at least half of the water that was in that quart-sized jar had wicked through the pine shavings. And when I ran my fingers in the pine shavings, it was just a soupy mess. So it confirmed what I thought had happened. Moving forward, during the first probably 4 to 5 days, I will not put pine shavings in a starting brooder. I will either stick to the thick paper towels, or I may give it a try using puppy pads, just because we happen to have some. I'll record that and let you know how it goes, but for the most part, I'm thinking paper towels is probably going to be our go-to for our newly hatched baby chicks. So I hope that this has been a little bit helpful for you. I'd never heard that this was a possibility, but now that I've experienced it, I want to make sure that anybody else who is hatching baby chicks for the first time is aware of the dangers and the possibility of this happening. Keep your chicks dry, and they will be so much happier and healthier, and you will be far less stressed. Hope that helps you guys out, and we will catch you on the next video. Have a blessed day.